It's funny, I'm only up the strip from you and I don't have any power issues. Or maybe Mayor Jameson, we are live.
Thank you. Welcome and good evening, everybody, to the regular meeting of council for December 20th, 2021, last one of the year. I am going to call the meeting to order. You have before you a copy of tonight's agenda. We do have an addition to 7C under new business, an excused absence for Councillor Chambers. Looking for a motion to adopt the agenda as presented or as amended, sorry. Councillor Duford, seconded by Councillor Willows. Thank you. Any or all in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 3, any declarations of interest? Councillor Bouchard, go ahead.
Yeah, just item 6J and 8B. My company may be involved. I haven't confirmed it, but maybe.
Okay. J and sorry?
6J and 8B.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Councillor Bouchard. None being noted, none others being noted. We'll move on to item number 4, which is announcements, awards, ceremonies, and presentations. First off, I want to thank all the organizers of the Twinkle Tour and the Festival of Trees and what else do we have? The campground Christmas, the parade, all the good stuff going on in town. So just a big shout out to all those involved and thank you very much from council and the mayor. Also, we did our annual Twinkle Tour the other night and thank you Deputy Mayor Dowie for driving us. So the winners of that are Curtis King for traditional category and honorable mention goes to Greg and Karen Rowe. Janine Kipling for the creative category and honorable mention goes to Scott Gray. Lynn and Al Booth for best yard and honorable mention goes to Marshy and Dave Earl. For the corporate category, West Point First Nation took that one. We'd also like to send a big shout out to our Forest Drive residents for their community spirit. Looked really good down there. So that's what I had for announcements, awards. Anything from council? Nothing noted. Administration?
Thanks, Your Worship. Nothing for right now.
Thank you. So item number 5 is administrative inquiries, and I'll pass it over to SEO Smith.
Thanks, Your Worship. We'll jump right into it. I just want to say happy holidays, though, to council and all the public listening. We'll start with the Director of Finance, please.
Good evening, Your Worship, and Merry Christmas, everyone. The town received the first version of the 2021 assessment roll today. As I previously informed council, this was delayed as the assessor requested a 2-month extension. So we're working through our review as quickly as possible to get it back to them. It's all legislated timeframes. So if we're able to turn it around quickly on our end, we're expecting to get it back sooner from them. With the plan to get us as close to being back on schedule as possible and avoid any delays in our 2022 levy of taxes. We also use this initial assessment roll as a preliminary analysis tool for our mill rates. Also, just comment, the administrative office will be closed beginning on Christmas Eve at noon, and will be reopening on December 29th, closing at 3 p.m. on New Year's Eve, and it's closed on the 3rd as well as a stat holiday. We'll be returning to our regular hours, 9:30 to 5, closed at lunch hour, starting on January 4th. That concludes my updates. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Any questions for our Director of Finance? None being noted. Back to SAO Smith.
Thanks, Your Worship. I just wanted to recognize finance staff for coming in this week. I think they had some scheduled time off, but that assessment role coming in late here, they're working hard to get that out, so that we can play some catch up on that for our tax issuing. We'll go next to the Director of Protective Services, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Currently for the month of December, as of today, the department has done 42 ambulance calls, 1 false alarm, 1 rescue call, and 1 fire response. Also wanted to highlight a few things for some questions that were asked last week. Responding to how many volunteer hours by town employees responding during working hours. Was able to pull some stats and figure out what those numbers would be. So this year there has been 233 events responded to during working hours by town employees. This includes anyone who worked for protective services as well as for the town. This works out to roughly 321 hours on call. The other question was regarding false alarms this year, and if there's a plan to educate the public on reducing the numbers. So our false alarms, just to inform a bit on the stat itself, the false alarms are fire calls we get dispatched by automated alarms. It's not an active fire, but a false alarm, and that's what we indicate it as. So the false alarms don't represent any medical calls in any way. It's a response to a automated alarm system. So the current stats versus last year, our false alarms are down from last year. Actually, there was 42 false alarms last year, and this year we have 36 here to date. The reason for increase over the last couple of years is due to residential alarm systems. There's a lot of systems that exist in homes that previously didn't like Liberty systems, and those auto dial our dispatch when there's a smoke alarm going off, and if somebody doesn't silence their alarm, then we get dispatched out. So we also just have a lot more automated alarms in towns, so that also explains the increase. But currently what we do to inform on alarms is we inform owners that they can be charged for false alarms under the bylaw. So far that's been enough to deter any repeat customers. I took a look through the stats, and we don't have any properties that are constantly bothering us with alarms. So far that's working for us as far as a deterrent. I'll move on to updates and current initiatives. We conducted the toy drive pickup on December 11th and had a great turnout from the community. We had the toy drive drop off on December 18th, where we dropped off all the presents in coordination with the RCMP around town. Tomorrow, actually, the Fire Smart project will be beginning. The project is currently consisting of widening the fire line into a fire guard that will protect the west side of town. So that'll be beginning tomorrow. Inspections on town facilities are currently ongoing, and I'm looking to get those finished up here this week. So once those are completed, I'll get those submitted to the insurance company. The ENR water division also touched base with us to set up some meetings in January to discuss breakup monitoring, review some research that was done by students from the University of Alberta a few years ago, and also to discuss development of a new floodplain map. So that's exciting that we're going to meet with them. And as far as equipment goes, we've received back all our SCBA tanks needing hydrostatic testing. So every tank is completed now. And for department training this month, it was a lot of holiday events and planning and decorating, like assembling the sleigh and organizing all the toys for delivery. But we did get one regular meeting in where we did a night of medical stations where we had different teams and competed in various competitions for a prize. So it was a lot of fun. But that's going to be it for our meetings for this year. So Yeah, that's all I have for updates. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Any questions for our Director of Protective Services? None being noted. Back to SAO Smith.
Thank you, Your Worship. We'll go next to the Director of Recreation and Community Services.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Department of Recreation is in transition towards the holiday season. A lot of our user groups, or I'd say about half of our user groups have gone into their holiday season, and they've postponed their regular activities at this point. Some are continuing through this week, but we will be operating on reduced building hours as of December 24th, and those reduced hours of 12 noon until 6 p.m. will continue until January 3rd. Regular hours resume on January 4th. We do have full closures on December 25th and January 1st, so the building will be completely closed on those days. Other than that, we do have during the reduced hours, we had many local businesses and community groups, and even some individuals that sponsored swim, skating, and shinny hockey times during the holidays. We do have some user groups that are maintaining a few ice times throughout the holidays also, and we have a few private rentals throughout there. So our ice times and swim times are booked up throughout the holidays, again through those that sponsorship program and some private rentals. We also have our outdoor rinks that we continue to work on despite the cold weather. Ray Benoit Rink in the 553 area has been open for almost a week now. Some snow removal required there, and we're expecting snow overnight, so we'll be there tomorrow. There are some skaters out there despite the cold weather, and we'll continue to maintain throughout. And the Old Town Rink is not quite ready at this point, but it should be ready shortly. We continue to have communications with Keats Water Service and continue to do snow removal so that we can have that ready for the holiday season. Some other holiday activities that the town rec department supported were, as mentioned previously, Santa Claus Parade, which was very well attended by the public in the downtown area. We had fewer floats than we've had in previous years, but it's obvious there's a definite interest from the public, and there were a lot of people in the downtown core there to watch the parade. We also had Skate with Santa, and that's another event that is very popular and was well attended again this year. Town also helped with promotion of activities such as the Full Moon Snowshoe out at the ski club, the Festival of Trees, which is happening at the community center, as was mentioned previously. And there were other activities also that the town helped support, and some of them were from emergency services, and our protective services director mentioned those. Some things that I've been working on and that I'll try to wrap up before I go on holidays here. We do have a few reports on funding that are due here in December. So we have some final reporting on funding we received for the Food Cycler program. We received the up-to-date data from the Senior Society that we're managing that project, and I'll be submitting our reports to ENR regarding the funding they provided to support that. We also have two summer cap projects or community accessibility projects that are funded by GNWT Infrastructure, and those final funding reports are due this month. One of them is for Port Landing and repairs to the retaining walls out there and increasing of seasonal docking. We completed the spend there, and the report will be submitted this week. And also have to submit a progress report on the golf course road repairs, golf course and ski club road repairs. That the spend is ongoing for that project. Final reporting is due March 31st, but I will be submitting a progress report shortly. I also met with our operator for the Fisherman's Wharf Pavilion for the 2021 season. As part of our contract, there was a report that was due at the end of their season, and a bit of a review that I would do with them. We've started discussions for 2022. They seem interested in renewing the contract, and the town was very satisfied with the work they provided. So we do have an option in the contract to renew for the following season, and I do expect that we will be renewing that contract. Lastly, I've met and I've had some communications with the beautification committee and the ski club. Beautification committee has invited me to present some of the town's plans for 2022 beautification and improvements of the downtown core and some of our green spaces. So I will be doing a presentation at their January 8th meeting. The SAO and I have discussed some of the initiatives that we want to present and discuss with them. And the committee, I think, is looking to get an understanding of what the town will be prioritizing and seeing where there are partnerships and whether they can support and how we can support them in their initiatives. Also been in communication with ski club representatives. We continue to work with them in order to try to support their activities and see if there is funding available to try to support their O&M and also to see if we might be able to include in our future capital plans some of the needs we have out there at those facilities. Lastly, one big announcement that was made by the town's partners in a pond hockey event that is being planned for March. So the local Polar Pond Hockey Committee and the Climate Change and Sport Initiative announced that Hay River will be hosting a Save Pond Hockey event. One of 3 Canadian events that have been publicly announced. There could be up to 5 in Canada this year, but at this point there have been 3 announced officially. And those events are they try to take add on to local pond hockey events to bring awareness to climate change issues. And they do have support from former international hockey players that played for Hockey Canada at the international level and also from former NHL players. And it should increase what happens at our local pond hockey event and make that event that much better. And again, help bring awareness to climate change issues in our area and across the country. Those are my updates at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Any questions for our Director of Recreation? Councilor Bouchard, go ahead.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was under recreation or the fire department there. The annual fireworks on January 1st, or December 31st? What do we have planned? Anybody know?
SAO Smith?
Yeah, thank you, Worship. A little bit of shared responsibility there, but the Department of Protective Services does have the lead on that with their volunteers. So we are again planning for a fireworks display to be downtown as it was last year. So the promotion for it's been included in some of the long lists of activities, but there will be specific promotion of the activity coming out, or the event, sorry.
Any further questions from council? None being noted. Back to SAO Smith.
Thanks, Your Worship. I just wanted to add to the Director of Recreation's comments about the Save Pond Hockey event, where a lot of partnership opportunity, I think, there that we feel exists and is already coming together, but very hopeful to see a legacy contribution item to the community through that. I continue to provide acting services for public works and services with our vacancy in the director's position. So my update will combine some of those activities with other SAO office updates. So I will start first off with just a notice to council that we did submit 2 expression of interest to CanNor for funding applications. The deadline for our EOIs concluded last week. So we submitted one. It's actually a resubmission that the prior council would be familiar with, which was our downtown revitalization type project. CanNor indicated that would be another project that we could submit for. We had submitted it previously with Bob McMeekin Park, which I did announce at the last meeting that we did receive funding for that for Bob McMeekin. The other application, or the other expression of interest, was to support the Sundog Business Park, as we're phrasing it. So that would be for support with design services for infrastructure there. That includes our underground and storm system and lift station, etc. I had a meeting with Stantec's architects last week, just a quick meeting. He was actually in town to review some of the quality control work on the lift station project, but I met with him to discuss a new town hall business requirements, and we are seeking pricing from them for that requirements and conceptual options, I guess. So I do expect a fee letter for that soon. Included in one of the concepts is our expressed interest in having an option for a near zero emissions type build. Also in the feasibility component of the work our engineers working on would be feasibility component to review a lease versus build scenario. So hope to be working with council on that one into the new year. We're also scheduling our kickoff meeting with Dylan the first week of January to discuss the water treatment plant feasibility and preliminary design project. Our agreement's been executed there, and work will start in January and proceed into the early summer. A notice to council that our contractor has indicated there will be a delay on our lift station 4 construction timelines. So that is just pushing it slightly later into May. A bit unfortunate as we start to get past the spring freshet snow melt type period that does put a lot of demand on our current lift station infrastructure. So that will be something that we will be working very closely with the contractor on, who would have some responsibilities around costs and any and some of the risks that occur through that. Otherwise, that project's continuing on right now. It is cold and they're doing some major work on the underground. The road closure was in the area of the lift station was announced. It'll remain closed for the next couple of weeks at least until we get that work on the tie-ins completed. I'm working on a presentation. This is around some of our economic development initiatives, but opportunities to meet with some of our regional contractors and to discuss and review opportunities that pertain to our planned capital replacements and new developments that are in our proposed 2022 budget and our 10-year capital plan. So an opportunity to indicate what work is in our area and actually in the region to attract business. Met with our marketing agency of record, which is Outcrop, to get an update on our tourism marketing related initiatives that are being undertaken. A little bit of an interruption there as we have our vacancy in our tourism economic development coordinator position, but trying to keep things moving along. Some of these are tied to funding. Well, almost all the activities are actually tied to funding that we've received through third parties. So did get a review of our tourism website framework and the site map for it. Some of our new branding concepts, which I do want to bring forward to council for a sort of review and a bit of input on that, and perhaps to our tourism and economic development committee if we do get that formed in a timely manner. Also be looking at some ITI applications, one to support the tourism marketing that we have in our plans. There's some other ITI tourism type funds that have deadlines for application early into the new year. So we'll look at those to see if there's any that are good fits with our planned projects. Note to council that I have had some discussions with the Senior Society on the potential for them being involved with the Visitor Information Center as attendants, and also the possibility of sort of a tourism ambassador type program with them where they might attend different events within the community and provide information on the events or general tourism and attraction information. So we did submit quickly a funding application through the United Way to help to support that. So it would all be dependent on funding if that does go forward. Myself and the mayor actually last week attended arbitration hearings pertaining to our electrical franchise. These are the last remaining items on the that have been identified for arbitration. So a little difficult to gauge how those hearings went, but we'll await a decision hopefully in January from the arbitrator. And some of those decisions will have an impact on the rate applications that will be submitted early in the new year. Also related to electrical franchise and some of our capital projects, such as Fraser Place and Capitol Drive, we are starting to talk about some of the risks that might be tied into the current NUL contractor, who would be the primary on, would be sub to do the some of the electrical power type works on those projects. Just recognizing that there's potential for changeover in the franchise towards the end of next summer. Note to council that Stitco Utilities and WT Limited submitted a request to the PUB to change their current terms for price increases and decreases from 60 days to 30 days. So the town did intervene with an indication in general support, understanding that the reason for that and the current pressures of market pricing, the volatility of the supply of propane right now is putting, especially at times with this type of year where there's high demand on consumption, but how that market pricing can have a significant impact on cash flows. So we're general in support, but did provide a recommendation that they review it in 12 months. Did receive a decision just later this afternoon that the PUB has made a decision that there would be an indeterminate move to 30 days for that Stitco's allowance. So public should just expect more frequent announces on rate changes, I'd suggest, through that, but more timely, I guess, and does help the operator. Landfill. So we have been working on our landfill management and waste collection pickup, solid waste collection pickup, our RFPs for that. So they've both been drafted in consultation with our waste management consulting partner. I've been providing some comments, and we need a bit more discussion through administration on that, and probably would bring those to the finance committee as early as January for more input. Also, I received a draft RFP document for our landfill tire removal. So I'm reviewing that now, but basically upon first review, we've set it as having various types of options open for the proponents to bid on for use of the tires or recycling or handling, etc. GNWT is advancing their tire recycling program right now, but I recommend that we just push through with our RFP, given we've secured federal funding to support that activity. Small update on our truck water contract negotiations. Those are still ongoing. The director of finance and myself met with the owners last week, and we continue to move forward with that. From our land and water licensing, we did submit a final plan for our land use to the Mackenzie Valley Board and ENR. That's all tied to drilling, installation, and decommissioning of groundwater wells at the solid waste facility. So that was our commitment, was to complete 6 groundwater monitoring wells, 6 new ones, and then we decommissioned 4 through that. So there's a net of 2 additional wells. Just from an operational perspective, from snow removal, just wanted to provide notice that we are doing downtown area tomorrow. It puts us slightly above our budget for the full calendar year for snow removal services. But I'd say in general, this winter so far, I haven't received any or many at least concerns with our winter roads, and extra sanding activities were added this winter. It's been really cold outside, and that's causing some glossy ice situations out there. But Anyways, things seem to be going okay there. And we are in some discussions about piloting the use of a larger granular to help with the icy road conditions. So we might do a pilot over this winter at some point. Outside of that, a few other points. COVID pandemic, of course, we've heard from public health that the Omicron variant is now in the NWT. Our administration is monitoring that situation to determine any potential impact to our services and the protection of our employees, users, and residents. I did see the GNWT has announced that employees returning from the territory over the holiday period, they are to work from home for 72 hours upon return. And there's also been notice for those involved in high-risk activities, which it includes, by their definition, indoor sports that is recommended for resident or users to monitor for 72 hours after their travel. So we will monitor that. Expect things to get much worse as we're seeing in the south, and we'll continue to share public health information with our residents. A note that we'll probably call for a policy and bylaw committee meeting in January or February. Got several bylaw and policy type requests that we'd like to bring forward to committee. That includes some Chase fees discussions, management bylaw, personnel bylaw, our zoning bylaw, which is I'm scheduled to receive a presentation on in the first week of January. Some changes to our fees and charges that we're suggesting pertaining to the utility and rec side. Also, just note that the NWTAC has announced openings for calls for nominations for various community awards. We'd like to submit for several, if not all of them. So I will share those with council via email for any ideas. With respect to human resources, a quick update there. From a recruitment standpoint, we've had interviews completed over the last couple of weeks on our supervisor for a public works position, as well as a protective service specialist. We do have an offer on an out-of-town senior lifeguard, but unfortunately not much traction on the director of public works position. Also, we've advertised our tourism and economic development coordinator position last week. Also working on funding applications, the announcement from federal governments about their Canada Summer Jobs call for application. So we're reviewing our budgeted positions for 2022 and we'll submit an application there. We've also been in discussion with ECE about disabled persons wage subsidy program that we might take advantage of, as well as other funding programs. And also, just on my closing note, we did have our town Christmas party and long service awards, not last weekend, but the weekend before. Again, just wanted to recognize Harold Cahousen for 10 years of service, as well as Randy Fraze for 25 years. Party was well attended by all departments and 2 members of council, and it was supported by our newly formed, or the employees' newly formed social club, but really good positive energy. It was a late night for many, strong feedback, and I take that really as a good positive indicator of our morale situation. And that is our update from administration. If there's any questions, happy to field those.
Any questions from council? Councillor Wall, go ahead.
I had somebody contact me, Glenn, I don't know if I'm supposed to say it now, but somebody contacted me and said that they had found out that the town had spent $1,000 on the Christmas party. And they wanted to know if that was coming from our taxpayers' dollars.
Karen, or Councillor Wall, if you wouldn't mind coming through the chair, I can pass that to SAO Smith.
Sorry.
Yeah, not a problem. SAO Smith?
Thank you, Worship. Yeah, we do operate with a budget for some of our employee recognition retention type events. So yeah, I think that there was some dollars that would went to the party that would have been considered taxpayers' dollars, I guess.
Thank you. Any further questions from council? None being noted, moving on to item 6A, budget survey results report. I'm just gonna, I imagine our council administrator is putting it up. It's Councillor Dowie, but there we go.
Am I good, Your Worship?
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Dowie, thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Willows, that the Council of Town of Hay River accepts this information item on survey results as presented.
Thank you. Now I can't see you all. Hang on one moment. Sure, I got everybody. Any questions from council? None being noted. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item 6B, library funding agreement report. Councillor Dowie.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Willows, that the Council of Town of Hay River approve entering into a 4-year funding agreement with the Hay River Library Committee in the amount of $179,000 per year, as recommended by the Finance Committee.
Thank you. Any questions from council? None noted. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item 6C, 2022 Consolidated Capital Budget Report. Councillor Willows.
Hey, thank you, Madam Mayor. I need my magnifying glass here. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Bouchard, that the Council of the Town of Hay River, it's about to be expanded. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Willows, seconded by Councillor Bouchard, that the Council of the Town of Hay River approves the 2022 capital budget as presented and recommended by the Finance Committee on the condition that the projects that are identified for funding through third-party sources are approved in principle, subject to confirmation of the contributing funding approval.
Thank you. Any questions from council? None being noted. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item 6D is the 2022 Consolidated Operation and Maintenance Budget Report. And that is Councillor Willows as well.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Moved by Councillor Willows, myself, seconded by Councillor Dufert, that the Council of the Town of Hay River approves the 2022 Consolidated O&M budget as presented and recommended by the Finance Committee.
Thank you. Any questions from council? None being noted. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item 6E, Emergency Services Monthly Report for November 2022 or 2021. Councillor Dowie.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Dufert, that the Council of the Town of Hay River approves the Emergency Services Activity Report for November 2021 as presented.
Thank you. Any questions from council? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item 6F, Municipal Enforcement Monthly Report for November 2021. Councillor Dufert.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Wall, that the Council of the Town of Hay River accepts the Municipal Enforcement Report for November 2021 as presented.
Thank you. Any questions from council? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item 6G, Public Works Monthly Report for November 2021. And that would be Councillor Bouchard.
Thank you, Worship. Moved by myself, second by Councillor Dufert, that the Council of Town of Hay River accepts the Public Works Monthly Report for November 2021.
Thank you. Any questions from council? None being noted, all in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item 6H, Recreation Monthly Report for November 2021. Councillor Dowie.
Thank you, Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Duford. The Council of the Town of Hay River accepts the report entitled Recreation and Community Services Monthly Report for November 2021 as presented.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item 6I, Ambulance Cot Tender Award. Councillor Duford.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Bouchard that the Council of the Town of Hay River awards the tender for the supply, delivery, and installation of a new electric medical cot to Medical Surgical Supply Limited.
Thank you. Any questions from council? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item J, Councillor Bouchard has declared a conflict, so we'll have him sign off and we'll text him when we're back on. So land disposal of Vale Island lots, that would be Councillor Dowie.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Duford, that the Council of the Town of Hay River approves the following recommendations. Minimum bid price as noted below for lots 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Block H Plan 4668 and lots 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35. Block H Plan 4791. 2, that these lots be disposed of by method of auction. And 3, that administration to forward a land disposal bylaw to council.
Thank you. Any questions from council? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. So now we need Councillor Bouchard back.
He's just signing in, Mayor Jameson.
Okay, thank you. So item 6K on the agenda is the Bank Signing Authority report. And that is Councillor Duford.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Bouchard that the Council of the Town of Hay River appoints the following council and administrative representatives as bank signing authorities. Mayor Candace Jameson, Deputy Mayor Keith Dowie, Senior Administration Officer Glenn Smith, and Director of Finance and Administration Sam Mugford.
Thank you. Any questions from council? None noted. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. And item 6L, excused absence for Councillor Grunewagen. And that is Councillor Wall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McGill, that the Council of the Town of Hay River excuses Councillor Groenewegen from the Standing Committee of Council Monday, December 6th, 2021.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 7 is new business. 7A, Habitat for Humanity Agreement. I am looking for a motion. Councillor Duford, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that the Council of the Town of Hay River approves the in-kind donation of one lot through a partnership agreement to be developed and executed between the Town of Hay River and the Habitat for Humanity NWT.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Wall. Any questions from council? Councillor Dowie, go ahead.
Thank you, Worship. Just wondering if administration has identified a specific lot. I noticed that there was a lot size noted there, and I would think I have an idea of where that would be, but just a little more info on that.
Thank you. SAO Smith.
Thank you, Worship. Yeah, It's, we have identified some lots that we think would be a good fit. It is one of the items though that is pending council's approval and is actually on this agenda, and that's out at the Vale Island properties. So those are zoned appropriately for the type of modular build that initially seems to be looking at. We're very early into the discussions, but that would be our thought is an ideal location there. And if we do go up for disposals, the suggestion on those properties, the suggestion would be to set one aside that would meet the requirements and isn't picked up or as it lasts through the auction process that's being suggested for that disposal.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Hello.
Councillor Bouchard, go ahead.
Yeah, just a couple questions on logistics. Are we able to do this? For some reason, back in the day, I thought we were looking at donating some land and stuff before something that wasn't feasible at that time. I'm not sure if we've looked into logistics of this donation, and then what's the implications going forward for taxation and stuff like that. We're giving up taxation on that property.
Do not believe so, but SAO Smith.
Thanks, your worship. Not aware of any implications or anything that would not allow council to make that support this motion. The taxation, no, it'd still be based on assessed value.
Thank you. Councillor McGill, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering about the floodwater level, Madam Mayor, and if that has already been sort of looked at and is not a concern for the sale of those properties.
SAO Smith.
Thanks, your mayor or your worship. I'm not sure that it really pertains to the motion that's out here. I mean, there is a suggestion or recommendation of using those lots, which would go, the Vale Island lots which will go through another process, which is on the agenda here today. But yeah, I mean, our zoning and building bylaws outline the development requirements for Vale Island and in areas that are in a flood zone. So these properties, the properties that are on Vale Island that are being proposed for disposal is they are in a more favorable area of the Vale Island location, kind of higher elevation levels. But yeah, anything new that's built out there is built to our zoning bylaws, which our zoning building bylaws, which specifies requirements for flood zone locations.
Thank you. Any further questions from council? None being noted, all in favor? Thank you, motion carries. 7B, excused absence for Mayor Jamieson. Looking for a motion. Councillor Dufert, go ahead.
Thank you, your worship. I'll move the recommendation that the council of the town of Hay River excuse Mayor Jamieson from the standing committee of council Monday, December 6th, 2021.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Willows. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item 7C, Councillor Chambers excused absence. Looking for a motion. Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, your worship. I'll move that the council of the town of Hay River excuse Councillor Chambers from the December 20th regular meeting of council.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Dufert. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Moving on to item 8, which is bylaws. 8A, bylaw 2433, land acquisition bylaw. Looking for third and final reading. Deputy Mayor Dowie.
Thank you, your worship. I'll move third and final reading of bylaw number 2433, acquisition of land.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Grunewagen. Any questions? None being noted, all in favor? Thank you, motion carries. Item 8B, and Councillor Bouchard has dropped off. Bylaw 2438, land disposal bylaw, looking for first reading. Councillor Dowie, go ahead, or Deputy Mayor Dowie, go ahead.
Thank you, Worship. I'll move first reading of bylaw number 2438, land disposal.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Willows. Any questions? None being noted, all in favor? Perfect, motion carries. Looking for second reading of bylaw 2438. Deputy Mayor Dowie, go ahead.
Thank you, Worship. I'll move second reading of bylaw number 2438, land disposal.
Seconded by Councillor Willows. Any questions? None being noted, all in favor? Perfect, motion carries. Thanks, guys. Item number 9 is in camera. 2 quick things. Looking for a motion to go in camera. Councillor Dufert, seconded by Councillor McGill. All in favor? Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to ask you all to turn on your mics. And I'll go around the table. Do you solemnly swear and sincerely affirm that you are alone and cannot be overheard while in camera? Councillor Willows.
I swear.
Councillor Groenewegen.
Yes, I do.
Councillor Dufert.
Thank you, Worship. I swear.
Councillor McGill.
I swear.
Councillor Wall.
I swear.
Deputy Mayor Dowie.
Your Worship, I swear.
Okay, so we're looking, oh, there's Robert. Okay, perfect. These are pretty quick ones, I think. Couple quick items, and other than that,
Mayor Jameson,
yeah,
we're still live streaming here, so it's
okay.